She just wants to be beautiful. She goes unnoticed. She knows no limits. She craves attention. She praises an image she prays to be sculpted by the sculptor. There's a hope that's waiting for you in the dark.
What is up, guys, and welcome to the Amazing Live tonight, where I'm playing with a statue while I'm bored. But hopefully Hui can hop on. She is a mindset energy healer, and I really wanted to get her on here because it's a completely different conversation than what we have been talking about. And yeah, I just want to make sure that this works this time. So I'm going to go ahead and try to invite her. Yay!
Oh, wow, it worked. Let me share them to a couple people right now. I am on
Finally.
my page now. So share. I'm just telling people to share on my page. You have to figure out. Yeah, you can't do anything. Once you're on here, you can't share it on the while you're on the live. So you have to use another device to share.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, okay. But it is on my page, I can see. But it's kind of frozen on my page. Maybe I have to refresh it. But I'm here.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay, I'm here. Okay, this is all matters. Okay. All right. You can hear me okay? Do you need to put my headset on or anything? Or?
No, I can hear you perfect. So thank you so much for hopping on. I'm so sorry, like technical difficulties have been so annoying. But
Hey, you're blessed. Yes, thank you for the
oh, she
heart.
froze.
So, oh, are you frozen? Am I frozen? I'm still here. I can see you.
Okay, I can see you too.
Okay. So we're here.
So tell me a little bit about what you do on a day-to-day basis, how you even got started in, what led you to where you're at right now. Like, just tell me everything.
All right, let's start going backwards here where I am at. So 4 years ago, I have started to do this as a full-time business, but I have been in healing for over 20 years. Not until about 12 years ago that I went through some turmoil in my life, my relationships, and my health. I had total car accidents because twice, and the second time was total, that left my body in a limbo. So I was experiencing a lot of pain and discomfort that wasn't going away. So it's like crazy, here I am, a wellness consultant and healer that couldn't heal herself. So I spend days, every single day, different days in different offices trying to figure out what's wrong with me, or trying, anyone who say, hey, I can treat pain, that's me. I'm going for it, whatever that might be. Even just have microcurrent, having electrical running through you. I will try anything, even my most fearful acupuncture. I'm a nurse. I'm a nurse that I am a nurse, but I can't stand needles. I rather chew it out than having needles. But I even just overcome the fact just to go there and just having. You see how much desperate I was just to get rid of my experience pain. But because of everything that was going out, so I was in a very bad situation. So both relationship and physical, and my world was turning upside down. And I was like, 3 months away from having my third baby. So we don't know where I was at. So I experienced a lot of difficulty in my life. So that's when it kind of struck and hit. And when I was in Australia getting treatment I was having just kind of like, to kill two stone at the same time. And I was very close to my shaman. And instead of getting some empathy from him, and, because he's like my father and he's supposed to be supporting me here and, help me out here. And, you go through all that. And really, when I was there, all he could advise me was pointing back at me here as, Hui, this is all your fault. And of course I cried, and how can this be all my fault? Everything is going on. And so I started taking some responsibility on it, and I prayed, and I don't know what to do because I could be losing a home, family life, everything else was just wild. But within the period of 3 weeks when I was in Australia, I did find my solution, and I got connected to beautiful energy from Vietnam, and I got really connected to my roots again. And I was practicing it. I was introduced to it, and I was practicing for the entire time I was there. And meanwhile, on the subconscious, on the universal level, things start shifting. It's amazing. Everything starts shifting. My body's getting better. When I came back, my marriage was restored. It's just wild. And what I discover is about the body when you are under so much stress, your body, when you're under so much stress, you're like this big pack of batteries, and your battery just turn upside down. So when your body's turned upside down, no matter how good of the healer you go to, and you can try seeking all sort of therapies, and you can do all sort of things, but when your battery's backwards, you they try to give you all this, and it's only very temporary. Your body just doesn't register. I think the easiest for people to grasp is like if you've seen rechargeable batteries, yeah. So if you turn that upside down, trying to charge it, give it different voltages, and no matter how strong the voltage you give it, but when it's upside down, it just doesn't take it, it doesn't absorb it, it doesn't charge up. So that's literally what was happening with my body and everything else that going on. But of course, for me, it was seeking to heal my physical stuff that I experienced, couldn't explain why I'm in pain all the time. And, my Reiki master like scolded me. I was like, Reiki should fix this and all that. And why are you walking around like I was just a very bad shape. I was just like, I had magnets all over me. I was trying everything. And she thought I was crazy because Reiki should have fixed everything, but it didn't. It didn't. I wish it could, but it didn't. But yeah, through all of that, I was able to discover many new modalities, and I'm using that to restore my own energies and restore my marriage, my physical, my health. Everything was so important to me, so dearly to me. In ultimate, figuring what's really matter at this moment, and was really my health and my family. That was really, and love, I think, was, and peace. That's all I really wanted it. If I have to have anything, love and peace was the most highest. And I didn't think it makes sense at the time to have all this money I was sitting when I'm going through so much chaos. So yeah, so that was like the beginning of it 12 years ago. So 4 years, and I'm a registered nurse. I'm a nurse, so I went back into nursing, just trying to get my license up to date. And next minute, I find out I was like 5 years doing it. I said, hang on a minute, what's going on here? I'm getting out of here. I love what I did. I love kids. I love special needs. I always have an adventurous nursing career. I never had a bad day in my nursing period. But I knew I have a higher calling. More people experience what I'm experiencing, and I want, at the same time, I was doing a lot of this part-time basis, and I just have the calling. I want to share this with the world, get the message out there, and I can really help them on a different level, beside drug surgery and everything else. But we all have this ability to heal. So I call myself this healer that doesn't need to touch you. So yeah, and since 4 years ago when I decided to, this is it, this is my life, and I'm walking away from everything. Yes, being a nurse, you are guaranteed to have a job all your life. You never not have a job. I tell you that. If you want a job, be a nurse, and there's plenty of jobs. There's plenty of that around. I guarantee it. So, but I think with this way I can reach more people. It's so much more stuff that have opened up since this past 4 years, and it's really wild. People like today, I had a client who spent 20 years trying to figure out what she want to share with the world, and in 20 minutes, I was able to craft that message what she needed, and helping her in her own language. She couldn't speak when she come to me. Very hard in enunciation words. And after 30 minutes, she's talking fluently. And I say, now speak your own tongue language. which is Spanish. And I record the whole thing for her. It was just crazy. But, ability like that, or people, an ability just to help people just like open up their relationship to money. Even though, I was just so blessed this last few weeks, it's all been happening here, really just to connecting with some of the amazing people who totally, I just kind of go through this rebranding phase right now. So we call my website 5K Relationships, and just really helping people just to connect with themselves there on a personal level, and relationship to themselves, relationship to the business, relationship to parenting and children and husband, wife, so whatever the relationship is. But once you start healing that personal relationship, everything else is like kind of like clockworks and magic. I mean, people are, I don't call myself like this money mindset coach or any way like that by all means, but as they are coming to me to get help and clearing, that's all I do is plugging out all this negative stuff out of their invisible. And then once they're restored that balance, everything else start flowing better. I have no idea how they're going to make their money, how, whatever, but I have some really crazy, wild stuff. I mean, I had a guy in like 10 days was making $41,000 in business. And I had a client today, and she told me, wait, after you had that clearing with me, I made $14,000 in new business just after. And yesterday she had another mini session with me, came back, I got a message from her. Oh, I had 2 new accounts just open up. So, beside that, this past year I was focusing on saving a lot of marriages, and I've seen miracles for people. I've seen marriages that's about to sign the paper turn around, even on their third marriage. And I've seen teenagers that are in therapy for a year in 1 full hour session, just totally, their parents cannot stop talking about her, how much love and connection that they have with them. And she hadn't need to come back. I suggest 2 3 weeks, but this kid is just thriving, no longer needing to suicide, no longer needing to feel overwhelmed, but now is living, is like, I want to go to college, I want to go to this place, I want to go to Australia, I want, like, it's like exciting, all these doors start opening up. So that's kind of like me in a nutshell, but it's just all, when you talk about different modalities, yes, I use a wide range of modalities, and I think a lot of that is connected to deep root down in my Vietnamese roots, and a lot of energies that's coming from that. And I work with a lot of archangels. I work with spirits, so it just depends where they're coming from. It doesn't matter. And people think, oh, but we all have this common universal connection, and we often label it different things. But ultimate, at the end of the day, is I work with the unseen. I work with the emotion, clearing all the negative stuff out of them. And I think best way to describe it, I help you detox your relationship, I help you detox your energetic field. And I think that's really one thing, just to sum it up, is just clean up as you do for your body, water and everything else, you flush out all the toxin. I do that on an energetic level. Does that make sense? So yeah, so that's kind of like in a nutshell. And I'm loving where I'm going with this, and with the whole new rebranding, and just yeah, watch out. It's just crazy, but it's really good, and I love it, and just seeing all the changing in the people, and it's only take moments, right? Sometimes all it takes is moments. Sometimes I had people take 3 sessions. That I had another gal who's like, 46, but living in 46 years in just living in anxiety. And I've just seemed to be attracting a lot of people who's been sexually abused and molested. And they go through a lot of trauma. They go through a lot of anxiety, just that fear-based all the time. So, and I'm able to, some as little 3 sessions, as little as 1 session, just to help them free from that bondage and free from that, and just helping them living again. So just like, and people have very similar post-traumatic disorder. I'm not making any medical claim. I'm not a psychologist, nor I am a therapist. You can wipe that out. I'm not your therapist. I just purified and detoxified your energy. That's all I'm doing. But as a result, that really helped free them up and really just restored and help them to be harmonious and balanced again, finding themselves again, just like connecting them again. Because half of them, when they go through a lot of trauma, they're not living in their body. They're just merely existing it. And that's what I discovered. People go, whoa, do you see where my body is? Like, okay, you want me to surgically open you up now in this second? Dude, no. When I go in session, I like to have that time just to work through with them and having time to close that up with them. But yeah, so you can call me the doctor for your energy or the doctor for your spirit, if that's what you want to call me.
I
Yeah.
love that. So how do you, when you're first interacting with a client, is there a way that you like set the tone for the conversation? Is there something that you have to do each time that you get on the phone with a person to like tap into that side of yourself or any kind of
Yeah. Well, I do have a certain routine, and some people already have a specific request. Like this morning, and I have a girl that said, "Hey, I really need to working on my public speaking, and I used to be so confident with my speaking, and then, I'm a very successful business person, and then after, she was sharing with me after she had her accident, after she had her stroke, after she had her lupus, after she had her cancer. I mean, she had to go through all those bunches to wake up. Hey, your health comes first. No matter, healthcare, you have to self-care first. But it took her all those things is just going through forever, just trying to like wake up to it. And she was so gifted before, but as a result, I mean, I was so proud of her. And doctor said that she would never talk again. Doctor said, she will never live a normal life again. She overcame all of that, and she just want to help share the message. And I say, okay, because she already set the tone, because that's what she have desire. And I very quickly tune into that. And in a very short conversation, I was able to pick up what she needed and really help her craft that and clear. I say, we have 30 minutes, and if this is what you want, I will focus on this and I'll tune into that and just like, free up her vocal. And she started to sound normal. She wasn't hesitant with the words. She was enunciating each word, and she's gotten more fluent. Whoa, where does the phone out of my mouth? And actually recording her. I mean, I remembered to put a record, so I got 12 minutes of what she needed to bring her message. Like, it was awesome. And she's just like, but other time I say, hey, you want me to see what's going on and focus on what's important, or you already have an idea what you wanted to do. Some people have a fixed idea, this is what I wanted. And I say, well, let's see if this is what your soul wanted. And the first thing I do is just check the energy. And I always get them back in their body first. There's no point I can do all sort of thing if their energies are out. That was the first thing I always check. Is the energy and getting in line, getting corrected, and then okay, and then we'll go into, given the time that we have, what is important at this moment right now. And sometimes they have no clue what they want to work on, sometimes they do. And I just, I guess, people like a doctor, you go through an x-ray machine, I guess I see different things, where there are blockages, what we call blockages, or things that are stopping them from doing what they're supposed to be doing and living their life purpose or whatever that is. So I will see those areas that need to work on, and then we'll go there. And no two sessions are alike, even though, yeah, there are no, so there's a lot of fun and adventures every session, and I love about that. So you never know what guiding, what they're gonna come out, people just like, I have another mediums that came to me and she was not able to read. Mediums are people, who can read the other side, and psychic. I don't like, claim to sit here and read all that. No, I don't. But just like with instant moments, when she start working with some of my symbols, that just activate her third eye again. I don't say, oh, I'm gonna activate this. And no, I mean, I just do whatever I need for that person on highest good. I always set that pure intention for their highest good, and then whatever that highest good is for them. And sometimes we have to get our head out of the way, and sometimes we think too much. We need to have this and this and this, and then on the soul level and on the spiritual base, like, no, you don't need this and this. This is what needs to happen now. So I never know what surprise I'm going to get when I do get in there. So some people say, oh my God, you do psychic surgery? Yeah, you kind of say that. But yeah, so but typically, yes, that's the order, get their self aligned first and then see what's the important order that need at the moment and then work through those important. And I think that's very important to establish what is really important right now, and work from there. Because once we take care of the most important stuff, everything else starts to flow in places. And as long as we get the ego out of the way and get our thinking out of the way and let divine. I mean, it's always divine intervention. I say, I am not doing anything for you. I'm just accessing whatever I need for you at this moment. I'm just like a conduit where you charge up and pull out whatever you need at the time, because you know what? I'm not that smart. It's just like everything just worked through me, and I don't have encyclopedia up here. I don't have all the answer, but source always have, and it's amazing, vast when we're really connecting to what is out there, and they just, I guess, are able to tap into what they need. And I don't, I didn't say I don't heal you. I don't heal them, really. They just come and have whatever they need, and they actually heal themselves because they're really ready for that answer, and the light bulb will come up. And I'm nothing more than the source. I'm just plugging them in. I guess, when you think of the power charger, you need to, and I'm that wire. They're this wire, and they plug into that, and then this is, I help them. I'm that little, what do you call it? That thing I'm charging this right now. That plug. I'm merely that plug, and they just like connect to that, and I help them connect to like all the power that they want.
That's awesome. I love
Yeah.
the technology. And it sounds like such a beautiful process that you bring them through, and a lot of self-discovery going on. So, what is what is one way that you do this for yourself? Do you have like a morning routine? Do you meditate a lot all throughout the day, just in the morning? So, like, how are you getting in touch with your body, and
Yeah.
spirit every day?
Yeah, believe it or not, before I got even married, I was meditating a lot. I was actually doing 2 hours each morning, and I was doing regular base of it. And then, I know when I don't meditate, no, I don't sit for 2 hours anymore. I'll do my 10 minutes here and 20 minutes there. So, but I knew when things that start happening in my life, when it's out of balance, is when I don't have that downtime for me. And that I remember going through, families, business, work life, everything else was having a bit of me, and I didn't have time. I did not make time for me. Like that gal had to go through all of that. I was that gal. I was that gal that, like this morning, that I talked about. I remember I was that person there. Had to go through that car accident, a very insist. I have a lot of things that like firing, getting my attention. So meditation is good. I do like, maybe 10 minutes in each morning. I actually sit up to do it, set the intention. And one of my things that I do as I walk to the bathroom, that's the first thing to visit. And every step that I do walk, and just be with that step and being aware if anything else. So it just like bring me back to this moment. So that's my practice. And I do twice a year. I do a 3-4 days retreat. And this year we're going to have a 4 days and 7 days retreat of a meditation. And then in the afternoon I'll do a little bit, but really doing it daily is more like in present, to be aware in each moment. I do get scattered about. I'm very ADD. I will do one thing and next minute I'll jump to another. So that's very me. But one way to ground myself when I really focus at it, and something I thought I wasn't good at, if I really focus at it, is yeah, I can clear that table and I say, okay, stay in this spot, stay in this spot, stay in this spot. I can get that done. So for me, it's harder for me, I guess. I have to conscientiously. Some people are so natural. They're like, that's they breathe that. For me, it takes longer for task certain things. Of course, heal people, I can just like that. just put my wand and everything good for them. So that's like, I guess I'm fucking good at this. I can just like like that's what I do. Oh, you have a magic wand. But yes, it's just like throughout the day really. But I don't say, oh my God, I'm gonna be sitting like the nuns 2 hours. The nuns sit like 6 hours a day really. So I do it throughout the day, but to not that extent. But the whole
Mm.
key thing is I think I break all the rules, I break all the formalities, I break all the all the there's this little in a lot of my practice is a lot of formal. You have to sit a certain way, you have to sit in posture, and I kind of break all the rules and get rid of all the formality. And I think the most important thing to do is, as long as you practice, whether when you're driving, I'm driving, okay? That's your attention. When I'm walking, I am walking. So I'm not perfect at all, but just reminding to do that. And that is really the daily practice of talking with you. My attention is really with you at this moment. I'm looking at you, I'm paying your attention. And I have a lot of difficulty with that. And, and being known as a ADD, probably back in those days, they probably put on drugs or something because I have so many thousand thoughts running faster than a normal people, I think. So I think, but by doing the mindful practice of being present, and for me, I work a lot at it. I've done a lot of work around that. And so now it's kind of like embodiment of me. It's like, it's not a matter, I must have this time, I must have that time. I integrate, I embed it into my day to day. So it's not like I do have, not like all this formal, I have to sit. Someday I don't, someday I do. But days that I do, but at least if anything else, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening, and 10 minutes in the day. Like today, I decided to drive to the monastery. It's just because, and just walk around the grounds, just being in nature. And that's my other meditation, is being in nature and just be, hear the birds, and then it's cool. I got to have watch some deer walking, and so it's kind of neat. But that's kind of my formality as far as meditation, and the self-care as far as food, nutritional, that consider what my body has went through. That is pretty much a must do. I've given up meat for since 2006, which is 2006. So it's been like 12 years. So I eat a lot of plant food. So when I'm religious with my plant food, more thing, I know what triggers. So you become more aware. So you become your own doctor. So I really haven't seen a doctor as far as, I know it's a lot of inflammation stuff, but a lot of that I'm able to manage myself because they wouldn't know what to do with me. I remember I have to discharge one doctor because she wanted to put me on a bit of medication, and she didn't like my herbs, she didn't like my joint stuff I'm doing. I don't know this, but I refused to what some stuff that they prescribed. And yeah, to be honest, I don't have a registered doctor. I don't know my name at the moment, but yeah, I've been doing that practice, and I think it's important where you want to prioritize yourself, and pain doesn't scream out. It doesn't write across your forehead, I'm in pain. It doesn't write on your shoulder like a tattoo. And if I'm fat and overweight, it's very obvious. People think, oh my gosh, she's getting fat. I mean, they're noticing, oh my God, you've lost so much weight. Yeah, I know. In summer, I was 20 pounds heavier than I was, and I'm back to 109 now. But that's obvious. If on the physical you can see, but if people that experience pain, it doesn't write on your face. And I can keep a smile on my face when I'm in pain, but in actual fact you cannot see it really. So some people stigma, she's avoiding this so she can be skinny, and that it had nothing to do with being skinny or that. And the thing to me is, give me a peace of mind that I can still function. I have 3 kids. I like to be around for longer. I've lost my mom to cancer at 52, 53. So this is my temple. This is like, I spend a lot of time doing the right thing for my body. And I think when you
Oh, you froze.
Experience a health crisis, which I consider myself going through, even though I know there's a lot of people with, I'm not diagnosing, but that's what the condition that they diagnosed me with, fibromyalgia or any autoimmune. It's kind of like it tells your body you need to do a certain ways, and it's kind of like a wake up call. And I kind of, I'm very grateful. Otherwise, I can keep going and not doing the right thing for my body. And it is really important because you do have one life to live. And some people, yeah, you have one life to live and you eat whatever and do whatever. That's fine. That's good. It's how you want it. And I don't feel I deprive myself of anything. And in USA, you are just so much food around you, so much abundance. And it's a matter of making the right choices. That's all. You have a lot of choice. So
Mm-hmm.
you can make really delicious choices too. And I don't feel I'm deprived, period. People feel sorry for me because I don't eat meat, whatever, but I don't feel sorry for myself because I don't take any drugs. So I feel good. I've seen people can out. I think one person brought me to tears that had fibromyalgia, and she couldn't hold her baby. She could not hold. Her wish is just to open the door, hold her husband's hand, and hold a baby. That is all the simple wishes that she had. It was so painful. She can't even hold a baby. So I know it's hurting a lot of people out there. I know just through shifting the energy, through eating the right food and getting the right thing and clearing all some of the toxin out. And I know that your body is amazing. It's so smart. It's the most amazing, intelligent vehicle that there is. No computers or anything else that can just like do that. So I know we just touch base on that because it's really close to heart. That's why I do what I do, and that's why I stay in shape. And yeah, I know I took a photo today and I saw a little belly on there. I said, okay, I want to tone that down, and that's all I need to do is just go back to there and do some more crunches. And I know I get that in no time. So it's no big deal. I'm not going to die on a little belly fat. So, but knowing that, I can just go up and down with ease. It's not hard. Getting healthy is easier than you think.
Definitely. So, like, as far as your morning routine and how you set your intention for the day, what does that look like in the morning?
I set the intention. I mean, I always love my life is my favorite word, and I am enough. And I have three things that I like to accomplish the day. I write the night before, and sometimes I get carried away and don't get them done. Then I put the first thing, the next list. So, and then, yeah, I guess the first thing is like, knowing, I just making sure where all my calendars are. So I have to keep focus on the time. Okay, where are my clients today on there? So I make sure those appointments are met, and in between time, I find things I needed to follow up and, try and balance that work life at home. People think, oh, you should stay at home, she should have everything, etc. But I have to kind of set the intention. I think is very important for the day, and some of the stuff that I do early in the morning because I have a business partner that I work with that living in the East Coast, so I'm always alert early. So then I have a few hours that I take care of I still have kids at home as well, so taking their, in between their stuff, and then I see people after when they're out of the house. So those are my daily things. And then Fridays tend to be my fun days that I use to try not to put anything much on that day. And if I do, like yesterday, I decided to give some free sessions, so I decided to put them on yet today to do a couple this morning. That was easy, half an hour at 7 and 7:30, so I have a lot of time left to do things. So I give myself, like yesterday, momentarily, I make sure I have a certain space. I can visit a friend and just take her out to have a massage. And I know she wouldn't do it for herself. And we do just that. So, I think people overbook your appointment books too much. So I think it's important you have to make an appointment of yourself there, just like not to have an appointment. Does it make sense? So you don't have to feel every single slot of your time.
Right. And what I often say is like when I notice this with my own clients is when they're overworking and overscheduling themselves, it's kind of to avoid spending time with themselves. And it's to avoid facing whatever pain or problem that they're going through by doing the thing that they know that they're good at. You know, they've gotten the degree or they've gotten the job to prove that. So they want to keep filling that ego up and take less time away from tapping in to what's really going on.
Yeah, and I learned that 12 years ago because I was very busy with the scout. I was very busy with the home. I was very busy with my business, busy with my job, and I answer yes to everything. And for me now, it's really liberating. It's really hard for me to say no at first because I volunteer a lot. I still do volunteer a lot. I'm the nun's driver. I'm the nun's interpreter. I'm the nun's fixer. I'm the nun coordinator. So I'll do that in my time that I have free, and it's okay. And I learned to say no to certain things if I know I can't make it that. And it feels really liberating for me to practice saying no is like, yes, it's really good because I have a hard time saying no to everything. So for me, my new practice is saying no, and I almost got out of. Okay, so it's something I'm volunteered to do some event stuff for the kids, teaching them public speaking. I was hoping, okay, don't sign up, and I ended up with 18 kids, and it's okay. So instead of like dreading it, it's like, you know what? I'm just going to do the weeks that I am going to be around. I'm going to teach them. They have enrichment program. Like I cook for 200 kids on the other weekend. So I've coordinated people to do that for me to do things now. So then I can slowly walk out, but I just tied myself to that. But I just enroll in other people just come and help me with the class. So it's kind of cool. But I think if it's really liberating to say no because I have a hard time saying no. And that's why my time is devised is doing different things than supposed to be focusing on what's important. It's very important to schedule that time for you, and it's okay to be. I never bored. I mean, even just like being in the monastery ground, just not doing anything because I'm up there. And sometimes they think I have to go up there to work. I said, no, that I'm spending this time. I wanted to walk the ground. I just want to be, and they respect that. And I learned to say no. I don't have to volunteer in those hours that I'm there. Or I learned to say no. Yes, I have that time slot for something else. I wish I could help you, but I can't. So it's very liberating for me just to start practicing saying no and not feeling so guilty. I think a lot of us having a hard time, and especially people like myself. There's more people like myself out there who help the community a lot, who work a lot, all sort. And then I think part of my downfall in the past was learning to say no. And now it's cool. It's really cool for me to say no. And yes, we don't have to fill our calendars back to back. We can have the free time, chill out, and take your time with your food. And I find a lot of people because you're in the fitness industry, and even though I no longer do a lot focus on wellness stuff, and they don't have much time spent on their food or be with present. And ultimately, all I'm teaching you is pick a meal in the day that you can be present with it and chew it and really enjoy it. And when I do, I mean, when people sit down with me, oh, I can taste, because people forget how to taste. They just like gulp everything down. And, I was the fastest, no, I was considered the slowest eating in my house. And there's people who eat faster than me. And now I eat even slower because the nuns had a lot of influence on me on that, just bite and chew. And I learned that because your industry helping people with the weight stuff. We go off track here, but yeah, I learned there are studies out there. If you spend more time chewing your food, you're more likely to lose better weight than any diet out there. It's just being present and being mindful.
Definitely. So,
Yeah.
what are some things when you want to break away and you want to just take your mind off of work or do something for yourself? Like, what are some things that are what you love doing? Like, for me, I
I love,
drawing,
yeah.
painting, things like that. I have a whole creative side to me. So, what does that look like for you as far as hobbies?
I knit, I sew, and I'm getting back. As a matter of like, once I get my hand wet, I haven't painted for ages, and something I want to get back is into drawing. I audio learn a lot, so now that the more I'm learning, the dumber I felt. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm learning so much more, and what I'm learning right now is like, how money works and how the emotion to money. And so, yeah, that's a topic that I'm researching, studying a lot. It's really fascinating. And then, I love poetry. Some of my clients wrote beautiful poetry, so I'm started reading some of that. And other things now, I'm seasonal now. The ski's in season. I'm dying to get up there soon. I haven't been up there. So, and, that's what I love to do when I can get out. I love cooking. I love cooking. If someone's clean up, I'm all for it. And I have a lot of hobbies, and I'm teaching myself to read so I can be just with that chapter. I know it's crazy. I'm teaching myself to read and just like not so ADD. So I have several books I'm going through at once, but I make sure I go through a chapter or 2 page on each, so I have some visual as well. So I'm kind of training myself read, because even though I didn't like reading, so I'm kind of like giving my brain. I'm just like playing around with it. So I do a lot of audio learning, and one of the thing is I do video tea times, and I make sure I have a couple times a week that I go out to be with a network group, physical group with people. So I just like being in the present, just having fun and that positive, and that's something fun for me just to go to as well, just having the connection. And I have a couple touch, so it could be anything and everything in between, or I'll meet them halfway to do things. So I like to connect with people in person as much as I love to do my session over here, but I enjoy the physical connection. And it's so cool. Like another day, I'm also a best-selling author for 4 books. It's the 365 series. And there's someone who read my story in there, and they wanted to connect with us. They're fine. So we just share about our life stories, and really fascinating learning about this person, amazing, rich story. Just like sitting down and have a cup of tea and just listen to their soldier stories and all sort of things. And this guy delivered like 300 babies while he was in Vietnam as a soldier. It's like, that's so neat. I said, you deliver more babies than some of these doctors ever will,
Oh
right?
God.
But yeah, I love connecting with people and really learn about them. And I'm learning to listen. I mean, this is what I guess, when you think that you have weakness, because I talk a lot, you can see I'm talking a lot. I get excited when I talk a lot. But I'm practicing to listen. And that's something, we always have to practice listening more. But I think listening, I've learned a lot of that. I mean, my husband say, "Oh no, she doesn't listen," and all that. And it's like, "Don't bring my name into it." But yes, it's something that I'm continuously being aware and be present, listening. And I have a bad habit of cutting people off talking. But back on my side, okay, shh.
Well, speaking of people and connecting with people, like who would you say, like even just starting out, with somebody that you looked up to, either like another healer that you knew, or just somebody that really stepped into their truth and like went after what they really wanted to do? Who was somebody that you looked up to or you still look up to?
Yeah, I guess when you think of some famous people, I would say Oprah. From her background, where she's come from, she's always striving something new. My daughter just went and saw A Wrinkle in Time. I have forgot to ask how that is. I'm going to see that movie. But everything that she does, I do adore. And and one of my dear friend that I met online, Dana. So she's great. I got to spend some time with her. I just flew out there. She's like, "You want to come see me?" Okay, sure. I mean, I'll be booking a ticket like Monday and Thursday. I'm there seeing her, and I really look up to her and seeing how much she have grown as a healer, as a psychic, as a business person. And if anything else, she have a lot to role model, and it's really great. And she really work at her business, that kind of stuff. And it's really great role model. And of course, my dead mother, who I've learned so much from, who is an entrepreneur, that doesn't matter what circumstances there are, no matter what the situation is, war or no war, or being like refugee camp or not refugee camp, that's another whole story. But she can make money, it doesn't matter what situation is, and I love her. And she's highly respected, most compassionate human being that there are. And she taught me so much about gratitude. She's taught me so much about just like being kind and generous. I think that's why I learn a lot from her, is that generosity and just giving. She's such a giving soul. And I think I got a lot of that from her. And she's always give, and except that I'm practicing to learn just to spend time with me time, and not so much just like, depleting my stuff like she would have had. She would just give her soul away if she could. But she's just that kind of super generous person. And, I highly look up to her. And then, of course, my brother, who is very successful business, and, he showed us and lead us the way a lot of ways, and do a lot of things that out of the box. But yeah, and I'm gonna go and see Tony Robbins. So I bought myself a VIP seat. That's saying yes to me, right? When we say no. So I actually got a VIP. I bought a VIP to see Tony Robbins, who's in the area. So that's really exciting.
That's amazing. Good for
Yeah,
you.
so it's pretty cool. It's like, okay, I want to be on that stage with the guy and just like getting coached by him. But he has so much. He have a lot of energy and inspirational. But I can give a long list. There's so many people that I looked up to, and I think, to think of it, I'm proud to be me. I think, I went through a lot, and I've seen the growth, and that's another whole book and story where I came from. That, yeah, forget. So for many people who doesn't really know who I am, you're watching this first time. Yes, I am one of these Vietnamese that travel by boat, that I swam out 9.5 to my boat. And that's like, that's where my life began really. Just like outside that comfort, and where I have became and do what I do. But yeah, so the work that I do in Vietnam, you would find me in a temple or something, dealing with psychic stuff, and they don't see, yeah, I have a family, I have kids, and I can still do this.
I love
So,
that.
yeah.
So I want you to go ahead and brag about yourself for a second and tell me about a client transformation that stands out the most to you when it comes to, stuff that you worked on, or an aha moment you had, or something that just stuck with you as a coach.
I think this will always bring me to tears. I remember, I can't help it. So I
Aww.
remember one morning I received a text from a client, and she had an 18-month-old baby. So ever since the baby was born, they never had that connection. And this baby would never sleep through the night, nightmares all the time. And as a result, mother couldn't sleep. She had autoimmune disorders. And then, it's affecting her marriage. They were going to go through divorce. And she reached out, we did some work. I will never forget this. Hoi, this morning, the baby woke up, reaching out. The baby slept through the night, and reaching out to her for the first time. They had this connection, and say her first words were, "I love you, Mom." That was a baby, 18 months, first words. And it just totally transformed the relationship to the baby. And it just, because she's sleeping through the night, mother's sleeping through the night, and she's much happier, and it's just really affecting the whole relationship, husband, wife, and baby. And I think it's really, it's amazing. I know it's very simple for me just to do that, to make magic happen for them, but there's so many people who are suffering out there like that. But I think, and that's really stuck out. And of course, I have, money miracles, people that making tons of money. Just like after that, I don't say, hey, you can make all this money, etc. But things that are happening in their lives, and And I think another case that a young father, I was so proud of him. He had 3 kids and he was a mom and a father for them for so many years, and he wasn't making any money for the last 6 months. Within 10 days, I think that was exactly his word, was 10 days, he generated $41,000 in business. It was the biggest one he ever done. Like, every day, oh, this one came through, this one came through, this one came through. And then on the fourth day that he had another project that came through. So it's really exciting. And then, like I said, I had that 46-year-old that was living in anxiety all her life. And for her just to go to work for the first time, driving for the first time, that she noticed, oh my God, there's a blue sky and the birds chirping, and I'm not in fear all the time, and I get along with my coworker, and the people that give me the hardest time was not anymore. And she transformed the whole department where she was at. Like, it's just like, wow. But yeah, those kind of things happen all the time, and it's really cool. It's really neat. And I question myself, did I really help you with that? But I do. It's like, but like I said, I'm just this power source that they're connecting to, and whatever they need and desire and intention, and they get what they want. So
Right.
I think that's
That's
important.
that's amazing.
I know
Well,
I can't, yeah, I get emotional when I share those
oh,
stories. So, but yeah, and it's true. It's like, it's really neat. It's like this lady today, just like give her ability, for her to able to speak again, and her ability to share her message. She can help so many businesswomen. But just the simple things that, I guess, for me, simple, but for them, they spend years trying to figure it out, and years is the I have never, for me, myself, I guess, it's really had me a hard time to be in public speaking like this. And public speaking was one of my worst fear ever of all time. And I remember the first day when I had to record my own voice for 1 minute. It took my one whole day to script it, to say it, to practice, and even just the thought of hearing myself. And as you can see, I've been bragging myself all this time. But yeah, I think yeah, so this 4 years I've gone through a lot of stuff, and yeah, there's this challenge with everything else, but I think momentarily, you try and bring that into balance all the time, and knowing that what is important in each moment.
even when it comes to fitness, it's amazing how we kind of become our own like biggest testimonials, and then that becomes the birth of our business. And the reason why we're coaching in the first place is because we found something. We're like awakened by this transformation. Our whole lives changed, and we just feel like we need to share it with somebody, and then it just happens. And I can tell it's really, you carry it around in your heart. It's all you think about. You live it. You're living your truth. And that's what I do every day with my clients, is like helping them discover their confidence through changing their body. And I just wanted to ask you, as kind of a way to wrap things up and summarize just kind of what you embody. If there came a point where, for whatever reason, all of your work, all of your client testimonials, all of those sessions were to somehow be erased, and you could only leave one message before you left this earth to let everyone know, that would kind of mark your identity, mark who you were as a healer, what would you say?
And think people will say I steal Brandon Bashar, You Matter, but I think that was my own when I found myself in a jail for one night, to figure out what mattered most. And I think come down to having peace and love at the end of the day, and just finding that within yourself, because nobody else will give you the peace, nobody else will give you the love unless you do. Because you really ultimately, yeah, And I realized that, when things go around me and it's had nothing to do with the person, it's like they're just merely mirroring what I'm feeling and experiencing. And like I said to my clients, if the world were everyone was a problem, then we need a lot of psychiatrists. So ultimately, is I remember my teacher, my dear heart shaman, is like what he said. It's all your fault. It's pointed right back here. So that always stuck with me when we start to blame everything outside of ourselves, knowing that we can when we start shifting from within here. And I think it's important just to work more on yourself. And I continue to do. I mean, it doesn't feel like I'm it for certain people, but I am continually just like, I was very close-minded before. I think I knew everything. But the more I learn and more I study, and oh my God, there's so much infinite on the planet. I don't think this lifetime I can grasp it all, but I think that's continual. Never stop working on yourself. Never stop working yourself. And then one thing that I remember Bernie, I got to sit down with Bernie Dolman. If you don't know who he is, he's the owner, founder of CEO Space. This is what he told me. Never, ever doubt your ability to heal. And that was like, we all have some of that in here, but he just saw that in me and never let anybody demean you, knowing that, we have it. But yeah, so that's what to stick with me there. Sometimes if I doubt and fear that, oh my God, am I good enough or stuff, just letting that go. I think it's the reason we don't feel we enough. And it's so important. I know I have more than one sentence there, but I think it'll come down to is like ultimately, and what my father said, you know what he said?
What?
Ultimately, I had this conversation, how do you want to be buried or how, when you die, etc. I want you to make it clear to all of us, his wife, his new wife, and us. He said, yeah, just like, cremate me. I don't have to be fancy and just like, turn to ash. That's what all we are, turn to ash. And then, yeah, just toss me wherever you feel like. So don't just sort of like, we often attach to things. You say, I'm not going to go back to that grave. I'm not going to go wherever. I'm going to be free. And I think what I learned from him, ultimately, at the end of the day, is really we all return to dust. And sometimes we find ourselves too important. Me, 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 me. And that's where we get upset over things. I think he's talking about the ego. And yeah, and he's so cool with that, Don't bother doing all this fancy stuff. Just like, cremate me and toss wherever you want, because ultimately at the end of the day is we all return to that. We all return to ash. And we all made up the same matter. There you go. The word matter.
Definitely.
But yeah, so I think that's very important. So we're not so ego and, oh, why is she saying that about me, etc. It doesn't matter what people think.
It really
Right?
doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, that's an awesome answer. And I wanted to take a second to just acknowledge you for what you're doing because, I mean, you and I had a conversation before about what you do, and we didn't really go into that much depth. And I think it's amazing. And I think that there needs to be more healing in the world, especially right now. There's never been a better time. So I think it's phenomenal that you do what you do, and I, couldn't speak more highly of you in your practice. So, yeah, just thank you, seriously.
Yeah, and I do have a class that I'm teaching. I just had another person coming. When are you going to teach another class? So yes, I'm doing my, 3 weeks of master energy. We can start people there, and then if they want to progress, then I include more stuff into it. So I have that class going with enough thing, then I'll set a date for that. So I do teach what I do. So for those who want to learn and practice, but you can find me at 5krelationships.com, and or just look up my name, spell HUE and then ANHNGUYEN. I think I'm popping all over Google right now, and you'll see one of my videos, or you see me on Facebook here, or you find me on Google, you find me on Pinterest, and you find me on LinkedIn. So if you can spell my name, I'm popping up somewhere. So do reach out if you know people who are experiencing some of the stuff that I talk about, whether it's, relationship to themselves, physical, emotional. So yeah, I love it, about detoxing your emotional being and detoxing your spirit and just cleanse you so you can restore your highest good. So I appreciate you so much, Em, for having me on. And but yeah, I'm just just maybe just take a for the audience that's watching. I know this is long, we got to this far, but if anything else you take away from this is just remember to return to your breath. If anything else remember is just take the deep breath and just remember to breathe and don't take life too seriously. Relax, have fun, laughter, and just be a kid. I don't think I ever grow up. So hang around kids. They will keep you be a kid. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for hopping on, guys. If you want to contact Hui at all, I will link all of her information below. And yeah, guys, I will see you in the next episode. Hui, thank you so much. It's been awesome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Bye.
Bye.
You should know your